Hey, one thing about having my nose fixed is that now it just drips. It did say that that could happen. I'm hoping that that will not be a long-term thing because I want to blow it, but I can't blow anything out, instead it just drips. So it's very uncomfortable. I mean, I'm glad that it's relatively straight. I have this little pinch right here from where the stitches were. This still over here is pretty red and swollen. Not really swollen, I guess, much as red and angry looking. But yeah, nose dripping, not a lot of fun. I have to carry tissues everywhere I go. And if I tip my head over, like I get some because it went off the floor, or I was blow drying my hair this morning and I'm like, my nose just wants to drip. Not a lot of fun. But hey, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to talk about, in the future, my videos, I want to talk about writing a book, because I did have a video earlier, which I said I was really excited. I'd written a book and I was super excited, and I'm probably the only one that's super excited about it. But, you know, of course I wrote it, so of course I'm super excited about it. But I'm going to go through the process of sending it to an editor, which I have started, sending it to an editor and getting it edited. And she sent it back to me one time, and it is much better. I read it and I'm like, wow, I'm a great writer. It is much better than what I gave her originally. And I mean, I've been using Grammarly Pro, and but it doesn't change your sentences a lot. It just checks your grammar, which is great. So when she goes through and reads my book, their grammar mistakes aren't there. But she adds and subtracts things, and it tells me where I'm missing. You know, you've got this up here, but you never cover that again. I know somebody said, some famous guy said, if you're going to mention a rifle on page 1, it better go off in chapter 2, no later than chapter 2. So I'm trying to do that too. I've also just finished reading the book Wired for Story, which is all about neuroscience and how our brains like stories, and how we read, and how we keep people from putting books down once they get one, and how they would suggest it to someone else. What does a story need in order for that to happen? So I've been working on that, going through my story. And I'd love to say I just have one story. I've actually written 7 at this point. I finished number 7 on Thursday last week. Actually, the Thursday before, 2 weeks ago. So not this last Thursday, but Thursday before, I finished number 7. And then I spent a week rewriting. Then I spent some couple days putting it through Grammarly. And so now I'm going to let it sit for a little while and then look at it again, and do a little bit more rewriting before I send it to an editor. Editor, they're not really, really expensive, but I have no job right now, so they're a little out of my price range. So I have decided on the 3 favorite books, and she has those all 3 the second time around right now. And I'm looking forward to getting those back. And I've worked on my query letter. I've worked on my synopsis. I've worked on my log line. I've worked on my bio, which is really lame. But I've got those things done for those 3 books. So when they come back, I haven't decided if I want to send, I know I can only send 1 at a time to an agent. And so I'm thinking, I guess I just pick, I'm going to ask her, I'm going to ask the editor, which one's your favorite? And then I think I'm going to send that one to as many literary agents I can find that are accepting submissions right now. And I'm going to let you know how that goes. Writing a query letter, I'm going to do a video on that. It is not easy. Writing a bio, writing your synopsis. I would rather write 10 books than write 1 query letter. And even with help, it's not as easy as I would have thought. It's really difficult. And then to fill out all the stuff they want online, there's a place online that you can find agents, and to fill out all the stuff they're looking for, it's a lot of things. And you have to go back, and you've got your synopsis, you've got your book blurb that you would see on the back of a book. All these things you're going to need to do to query a literary agent, according to this one place I've been so far. And every agent is different what they're going to be asking for. They might ask for the first 3 chapters. They might ask for the whole book. They might ask for the first chapter. They might ask just for your synopsis. And so those really have to be well written if you want to have a chance for your book to be read by them. And I want my book to be read by them. I want my book to be read by a lot of people. And I mean, like I said, I'm very biased, but every time it comes back from the editor, it is better. And it's, a friend of mine said, you know, if you're going to write a book that you would want to read. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been writing books that I want to read. And the whole writing process has been It's been quite entertaining. In Wired for Story, she talks all about outlines and how you need an outline. And so I start a rough outline and I think, okay, this is where my story, these are my characters, this is where my story is going. I realized I didn't do that in one of my books that I wrote, because I said, well, I think I'd like to make this a series, maybe, you know, not the same characters, but like one of the same characters coming into the next book, and then maybe a character in the next book. And she says, well, make Brad. Brad's a good character. Make him the person who goes in the series. She goes, because, you know, you didn't really give us his backstory, so you could really heavy hit his backstory, because he has a backstory, right? And I'm like, no, but he can have a backstory. I can give him a backstory. He didn't at the time have a backstory, but it definitely has a backstory now, because he comes back in the next book, book 7 that I wrote, that I just finished. Brad comes back and he has more of a backstory. Now he has a lot more backstory that I'm going to have to cover, because he played a small role in this one. In any book that I put him in, he's kind of an evil guy. He's a good guy and a bad guy. He's like a Robin Hood. He wants to steal from the rich and give to the poor, and to himself. He's very self-serving that way, but he does do a lot of good. So none of my characters are perfect. They all have flaws. And in every one of the books I've read so far, my protagonist is a woman and she saves herself in the end. Yes, it's nice to have the romance, but no one needs us. Women don't need anyone to save them. They're perfectly capable of saving themselves. So every one of my women protagonists saves themselves in the end, from either an internal struggle, an external and an internal struggle, but they are capable of saving themselves. So I'm going to make some videos on query letters, the writing process for me. You know, it's going to be different for everyone, but I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to talk about the writing process, because it's so fun. But hey, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful day, and I really appreciate you coming. I'd love to have any comments that you have. I mean, are you writing? Do you want to write? What do you think? So anything like that would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Bye.